much. I'd like to thank Bond for having me here today, quite soon after leaving Bond and being on a crazy 12-month journey, really focusing on that work experience space. So I graduated properly in February of this year from a Bachelor's of Business and of International Relations. But I was an accidental entrepreneur. I started up a social enterprise whilst I was in my final year at Bond University, and the mission of the organisation I've started, which is called Milaana, is to empower youth by increasing their job readiness and their community engagement. And we really focus on that transition from education to the workforce. So this symposium is quite relevant to my world in a few different ways. So in terms of my university experience, it was really the intangibles that have set me up to do what I'm doing, and this might be quite controversial to talk about. I will go into more of the tangible aspects later, but Hugh Minson was also the head of the Exploration Society here at Bond, and two of the photos are from that. And they really indicate the factors of challenging myself, pushing beyond my boundaries, meeting an incredible network of people, and having time to think and reflect on who I really was. And setting those three core foundations have really given me what I need to be able to face the challenging and dynamic environment of entrepreneurship and the startup world. So I had big dreams, facing a pretty terrible job market, and no experience in my final year when I was meant to be applying for these graduate opportunities. And it was quite terrifying. And this is an experience many students go through when we're not aware that we need to be getting experience from a very early starting point of our university careers. So during this time, it actually turned that the big problem that I was facing was a huge opportunity. And as an international relations student, I've been taught to look beyond my circumstances and saw that the problem was much bigger than myself. That youth represents 17% of the world's population, but over 40% of unemployment. And in Australia, I'm sure you've been hearing, we're not sheltered from that at all. Youth unemployment is as high as 20%. But what we don't hear about is the severe shortage of structured learning opportunities whilst you're at university. And I, like many of my peers, went around to businesses knocking on doors saying, I'll do anything. Milaana is a Hindi word that means to connect, and that's exactly what we do. Community organisations post projects, not just positions, but real-world projects that they need help with positions that pertain to those projects. So for example, an awareness campaign is the project, and positions could be social media, PR, graphic design. And students go to the site and they apply for the projects that match the skills they want to develop with the causes that they really care about. We've seen organisations facing the same problems that prevent them from scoping opportunities and creating opportunities for young people. And this is, I'm sure, in the private sector as well as the community sector. Organisations don't know what students are capable of. They don't know what we can do, what ideas we have, our use of technology, and how native we are to that world and space. So just taking them through what students can do and what every student is capable of. We market ourselves online every single day. Any student can do that. Then there's what students are looking for, what support students need, what structure they need in place to help them get the most of these experiences, but what they want in terms of networking and mentors and fleshing out that side of the equation for organisations. And finally, the scoping of a project and aligning the projects they have coming up over the next 6 months and matching those with what students can achieve and what's not too much to be expected from the students as well, because these are volunteer opportunities. On the student side, there's obviously needing to start sooner. Students who wait, like many and like I did, until the final year, that's when you're meant to be submitting your graduate applications. It's too late to be starting your internships then. So getting students getting into it as soon as they start university is really important. Not being exposed to diverse opportunities. We get the road shows from the Big Four who are hiring less and less graduates each year, and we don't really know about different opportunities or different sectors like social enterprise or the community sector, and we're not exposed that they could be tangible career options. And many nonprofits go on to recruit and hire the interns that they have. And finally, unaware of the skills and the value of those skills that they have. I wouldn't put on my resume that I understand social media, but for many organisations that's a critical skill. And knowing how to communicate to this next generation is really important for organisations. But if we don't know that's a skill that we have, how can we communicate that to those organisations as well? So finally, the power of stakeholder collaboration, and this was something we're asked to address in our presentations. And a big part of it, I guess, for us as an intermediary between potential employers and opportunity creators and the students is working closely with university leadership and the career development advisors, because we're going out there and trying to create these opportunities, but we can't give the students everything they need to have the support to go through those opportunities. We're looking to actually establish a best practice for real-world student learning. The Ombudsman has come out with a new set of propositions, but they're very, very vague. So we want to put something concrete out there and say if students are doing unpaid work experience, they should believe in the ethical value of what they're putting it towards, putting time-specific parameters around that and different requirements upon the organisation and students. So we really want to collaborate with universities as well as future employers in that space. And this goes into skilled volunteering as well, and integrating that youth perspective, asking young people what they're looking for in these experiences is quite important. And finally, the power of an idea that can really unleash this generation is that you can do well and do good. If you want to see the passion and motivation come out in students, that's the way to do it. So they can believe in what they're doing and seeing the value of the energy that they're creating in solving some of the problems we have in our world.